Evening, day 11 of going sober for October, and I've got another pint of water to celebrate. I don't think I've ever encountered so much water in all my life, except for one occasion when this takes me back in the 90s, late 90s. I ended up on MasterChef when Lloyd Grossman was presenting it, and now the thing is, now I'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, the thing is, I'd only just recently opened up me on-site cafeteria restaurant, the Michelin Star, Derek's Michelin Star restaurant, I called it. Yeah, we. On the, that it helped bring in the punters. Well, it wasn't a Michelin star at all. I barely knew how to cook myself, but you call it a Michelin star restaurant. People, they don't ask questions, do they? So you don't have to answer them. Now, of course, like I wasn't much of a cook at the time. The best I could do was Dauphinoise. Right, and so there I was. People come in, they say, well, we're just here for a nice day trip to the wildlife sanctuary in Butterfly Enclosure. What you got on the menu? And I'm like, well, it's Dauphinoise or bust, to be honest. And they'd be like, we don't really fancy a Dauphinoise for lunch. And I'll be like, well, that's what you got. So you can choose from Dauphinoise or Dauphine don't. You know what I mean? So that was going quite well. I was getting pretty good at making Dauphinoise. Next thing you know, all right, I'll get a visit from this bloke who said he was a food critic with the Sunday Times, and so he came, wrote up a review, and then that went down well. He loved the Dauphinoise. He said it was the best Dauphinoise he'd had this side of New York, and I was like, well, this guy's been around the world, and he's had a fair few Dauphinoises. But no Dauphinoise going to match up to Derek's. So then I get this phone call one night, all right, and it's from this bloke who runs a production company, and they make this program called MasterChef, right, with the Lloyd Grossman, who was he was. He did presenting jobs, through the keyhole, and he's in a punk band as well, and he does these sauces with his face on. I tried to do a few of those myself, it didn't really take off. But anyway, I ended up on MasterChef, and now the thing is, they said, if you're going to be a MasterChef, you've got to do more than Dauphinoise. You need to do a 3-course meal, to be honest. And I'm scratching my head. I can't think of anything. And I go to see my friend Peter. Peter runs a garden shop. I said, Peter, I'm all out of ideas. They want me to do 3 courses. And he says, I've got just the thing for you. All right, and he gets out this blowtorch, industrial blowtorch. Well, he says it's the kind of blowtorch that all the Michelin star chefs use to give a little. Get a little sheen to their creme brulee. And I'm like, right, creme brulee, that's what I'll do then. So I took one of his blowtorches and then nipped off to the studios to film MasterChef. And then when I'm there, Lloyd Grossman comes up to me, he's like, what you cooking? I can't do his accent. What are you doing today, mate? What are you doing today? And I said, well, today, Lloyd, I'm making creme brulee for starters, and then Dauphinoise for mains, and then creme brulee again for dessert. And he's like, right, that's it's unconventional. But I said, well, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. All right, and and there's the judges. There's that food critic again from the Sunday Times. He's there to judge my food, and they always had some kooky celebrities there's John Fashanu. And someone from the pop band Bewitched, it's like what are they doing there judging my food? And so I'm like, well, first of all, I get cracking. I make the Dauphinoise first. Get that out of the way, Don't mess about, Play to your strengths. All right, and Lloyd Grossman is like, well, do you not want to make the starters first? They're waiting for the starters, and I'm like, right, well, fine. So I get out the creme brulee. You know, I had the ready-made one. Right, I brought it from Marks and Spencer's on the way there because I ain't got time to be making a creme brulee when I've got to make a dauphinoise up to my standards. So I get out the ready-made creme brulee and I get out my blowtorch. Right, now granted, it's a lot bigger than I thought it needed to be for a creme brulee because, you know, I was expecting like a sort of handheld kind of thing, not something I'd need two hands for and have to plug into the mains. But so I put it up on the counter and I sort of just shot it with the gun, and this sort of the creme brulee lit up, and it was within seconds it was just ash, and a bit of a backsplash, and it caught me, and it actually started setting fire to my beard, and my whole head was on fire. And so what I had to, and I mean, I'm panicking. Lloyd Grossman's lost the plot. You know, that member of the pop band Bewitched is on the floor crying, and then I thought, well, I've got no choice, but I just like found this. Like, there was this massive keg of I think it was beer. I don't know. I mean, you know, if it was some sort of fluid, and I just sort of dunked myself in it, and you know, and it was fine after that. But unfortunately, the episode never made it to air.